So, ecology, what is it? Well, translated it means the study of the home, but that doesn't really define what ecology is. And we can't really say the study of the ecosystem either because, well, then we have to ask, what is an ecosystem? Here at Marine Lab, we define ecology as the study of the interaction of the community and the environment. The community in this definition is all the living organisms in the ecosystem, from our zooplankton all the way up to our sharks. Anything that's alive or biotic falls into this category, including the seagrasses themselves. Meanwhile, the environment is, well, everything else from the soil to the water quality. The environment is anything that is non-living or abiotic. Lastly, we need to observe or understand how the community and the environment interact with one another. And this part is the most important. To help you understand this interaction, I want you to do a quick activity with me. What I want you to do is grab a piece of paper and draw two lines like you see on the screen. On one side of the vertical line, write community, and on the other, write environment. Now look at this image in front of you. This is a picture of one of our seagrass habitats here in the Keys. Think about what we have been talking about and try to identify and write down a community and an environmental factor that you can see in the photo. Once you have done that, try and examine how the environment and the community may try and interact with each other. Write down this interaction below your factors. Let's quickly go over what is in this picture. An easy to identify community is our seagrasses, as they are a living organism and therefore a part of our communities. For environment, we have a few options here, ranging from the water itself to the soil the seagrass is in. To keep things simple, let's use depth. This brings us to the interaction between the community and the environment. Our seagrasses can grow in this area due to the water being shallow enough for the seagrasses to have access to sunlight. You could also say sunlight is the environmental factor in this situation too. This is just one example, so if you do not have this exactly written down, no problem. This is just an example to help you understand ecology. Let's look at another picture. This is one of our coral reefs also in the Keys. Try and identify a community and an environmental factor here as well, and how they would interact with one another. Let's go over this photo as well. In this photo, we have several different communities to choose from, one of which being coral. Coral is a perfect example in this case as it requires specific environmental conditions to grow. One of these conditions is temperature, and obviously we can't tell the temperature by looking at the photo, but we can make some assumptions because we know the photo was taken in the Florida Keys. The Florida Keys are located in a subtropical region. And due to this, we can assume that the water temperature is going to be moderate. While temperature is not something we can physically see, it is still an environmental factor. Environmental factors do not always have to be something we can see or touch. They can be things such as seawater salinity or nutrient levels, so keep this in mind when you are making your observations. So what would we say the interaction here is? Well, it's fairly simple. In order for coral to grow and survive, we need to have a moderate water temperature present. This interaction allows for coral reefs to exist in the first place and allows us to enjoy one of the most diverse communities here in the Florida Keys. For the last part of this activity, I want you to look out your window and make some observations. What are certain environmental factors and communities that you can see? Can you make any guesses as to certain organisms or factors that you could not see? Try and find at least 3 factors and communities. Compare what you have written down to what we have talked about in the prior 2 examples and the rest of the video. See if your communities and factors are similar to what we have discussed. Make sure that your interaction shows a connection between the community and the environment similar to what we have discussed. In this activity, you have learned what the word ecology means, as well as community, environment, and interaction. You have also learned to identify communities and environments, both in the Keys and at home. I hope that you enjoyed this activity and have learned something new. If you're curious about Marine Lab or just want to learn more about the environments of the Keys, be sure to check out the rest of our virtual site and tune in for our live streams. Until then, thanks for watching, guys.